Hello and welcome to episode 163 of Controller Club, the friendly face gaming space, a podcast where three friends from three continents share in one love, and that is video games. On today's show, the ROG Xbox Ally costs maybe a little too much. Zelda and Link have been cast for the Legend of Zelda movie, and Donkey Kong Bananza is here. My name is Kleinfeld. Alongside me today, two of my best friends in the whole wide gaming world. First, coming to us from across the pond, it is the digital art daredevil himself, the Diddy to my donkey, Tom Drew. Tom, what's going on? How's life?
Life's good. Still very warm in the UK, so I'm kind of melting over here. But my mouth is always melting when I'm seeing those bananas in Donkey Kong Bananza. So it kind of evens out, I think, a little bit. So no, I've just been playing a lot of Donkey Kong, which is very relevant and important for this episode because that's what we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, just feeling good about gaming.
It's funny you bring up a heat wave, yet you're wearing a sweater. So how hot
Well,
can it really
it's a
be?
t-shirt.
Oh no, it's not. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, I take it back.
false alarm,
The
false alarm.
the the collar kind of looked like you were wearing what you would call a jumper over
Yeah.
there. Next up, it is not our normal guest. It is not journalist extraordinaire Lauren Rowe. She is at Comic Con. She is down south, ready to go for San Diego Comic Con. We have gaming editor, very special guest from MobileSyrup, our very own materia keeper, Brad Shankar. Brad, how are you doing? What's going on? How's life?
I'm good. Thanks for again for having me, and I love that Materia Keeper. That is perfect.
I had to
Any
give you
FF7
something.
reference, I'll take it.
You're the Final Fantasy VII guy. You'll be happy to know, Brad, I'm a Magic the Gathering guy. I have been for the last few years, and I haven't dipped into the Secret Lair like collaborations they've been doing because there hasn't been anything that's really spoken to me. But a lot of my friends have been playing Commander, which is a format in Magic for the last couple of years, and I have been left out because I don't have a Commander deck. I have purchased a Cloud Commander deck. It was a little
Yes.
more than I wanted to spend on one, but I have it. They're sleeved up. They have I have Cactar sleeves, so I went Final Fantasy with that as well. I have a Final Fantasy. I have a they didn't have a Cloud deck box, but they had a Titus deck box. So I have a Titus deck box. I have the Cloud Commander deck. I haven't played it yet, but I think have you dipped into the Final Fantasy Magic craze? Because you're the Final Fantasy guy. I don't know if you play Magic or not.
Yeah, I never played Magic at all. When I went to Summer Game Fest last month, they actually had a big Magic the Gathering push there because it was literally like the week before it launched. So they had people from Wizards at the Summer Game Fest Play Days event, which is for media. So I got to go there and learn a bit about the game from them because I was completely new. They gave some starter sets, and then yeah, from there I bought a few of the commander decks. So I'm excited. I've just been busy with some other things, but I mean, it would be great to actually get to finally play with some people because I've just kind of been collecting them at the moment. But as a big fan of the whole series, not just seven, I love everything they've done with it. Like the references, the deep cuts, even the fact that they brought in like Yoshitaka Amano, who draws all the logos for every game, and Tetsuya Nomura, who's the character designer for a bunch of the games, to draw like original card art, as well as just the other artists they brought on. They're all fantastic. Like it's amazing. I can't believe
It's
how
kind of
much of a good job they've done.
wild to see like in this deck specifically with Cloud and I guess all the other commanders. I thought it was just going to be like, hey, there's a couple Final Fantasy character or seven characters in here, and all the rest were going to be like generic Final Fantasy cards you could pull elsewhere. But like it is 100% Final Fantasy VII themed. Like this whole deck is just Final Fantasy VII themed, which I think is like so cool. And it makes me, as somebody who hasn't played 10 or hasn't played any of the other ones that had themed commander decks, it does make me want to like. I've been told I would really like 10, and so it makes me want to play 10 and then look at those cards afterwards. It's very very cool how all out they went for this collaboration. Yeah,
100%. 10 is one of the best. Highly recommend.
I've heard it's gonna make me cry.
Yes.
Tom, you like to open packs of cardboard, but they're usually Pokemon cards. Have
I
you
do.
done the Magic Final Fantasy thing?
Yeah, so I opened a couple of packs because I was just like very curious, like, and this is the first time I played like Magic with some friends like years ago. At this point, I had a lot of fun with it. But after seeing this collab, I was like, I'm kind of curious. So I did open some packs. I do have for the YouTube audience. I had this pull this Tifa card. It's just like an art card, so not very playable because it doesn't have any text on it at all. It's just a picture of Tifa, but that was cool. And I did also buy like the starter like deck. that has like the Cloud and Sephiroth
Oh yeah.
decks in them. So I do want to try it out and like properly play it. I mean, Klein, in a month's time, we're gonna be in the same room. Like, I think we gotta whip out the magic
I'll
cards
pull out.
and
I
get to
have a
playing.
big Tupperware bin in the closet behind me that has all my Magic stuff, and I have it in a Tupperware bin because it confines me to the size of that bin. I cannot expand the collection beyond the bounds of this plastic container. So
That's
we'll
fiscally
pull it out.
responsible.
Yeah, that
I
makes
Exactly,
appreciate
sense.
that.
because it would get bad if I had no limits. Like I would, that whole closet, this whole house would be filled with Magic stuff. We'll pull it out. I've got decks we can play. Don't have two commander decks, so we won't be able to play. I won't be able to play my Cloud deck, but
That's okay.
it's fine. We can have some fun. Magic, this isn't a Magic podcast, but we're here. Magic's got so much, like so many fun collabs coming up. There's a Avatar
Yeah,
Last
no.
Airbender set that's happening. They just announced it's a small release, but like a Sonic one that I am
Ooh.
very, very like tempted by. Is that is right in my alley. And then they did Marvel earlier this year, I think, but they're doing a specifically Spider-Man set coming up, and
Oh
that
no.
sounds awesome. That sounds incredible. But that's not why you're here. You're here to hear the latest and greatest in video games. So let's get to it. Let's get to the headlines of the week. Tom Drew, give us the news we choose jingle.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
We'll start with me here. We have our first two castings for the Legend of Zelda movie. The Legend of Zelda movie coming from West Ball in 2027. I'm reading from Tom Phillips over here at IGN. He writes, Nintendo has confirmed the lead actors for its upcoming live-action The Legend of Zelda movie. Zelda will be played by Bo Bragason and Link by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. The casting was announced on social media today, which was, I think, Tuesday this past week, in a statement from Nintendo legend Shigeru Miyamoto, who said he was, quote, very much looking forward, end quote, to seeing the pair in the series' iconic lead roles. Bragason, 21, previously appeared in the Netflix fantasy adventure series Renegade Now, as well as BBC crime adaptation The Jetty. Ainsworth, aged just 16 years old, has only a handful of roles to his name, though notably appeared in the Netflix horror series The Haunting of Bly Manor. So this was um going to be a big deal whenever it dropped. We've talked many times here on the podcast, the Hunter Schafer rule or rumor from a little while ago. The rumor about these two is that they beat out a bunch of very big names for these two roles, which is quite exciting. 21 and 16 is crazy. A 16-year-old Link in a movie is going to be a lot of fun to see. I don't know if that, maybe we can speculate it on a bit here. I don't know if that maybe gives us a glimpse at what kind of Zelda story they're going to be telling from here. But before we get to that, I want to know, what do you guys think about these two? Do you have any history with them at all? I've seen Bly Manor. I remember this kid, but he was very much a kid at that point. Brad, you're the guest. What do you think about these two?
Well, first of all, I love that they're relatively no-name people. I think, we saw with the Mario movie, they kind of went the boring route of, here's just big names for the sake of it. And other than Jack Black, who actually is a gamer and actually is really committed, everyone else just felt kind of whatever. Like,
I
I
think
feel like
Charlie
there's
Day's
that.
Luigi is inspired.
Yeah, sure. Like I meant like
I'll
of the
put that
main
out there.
four. But like, yeah, I appreciate when they cast someone who's either like a genuine voice actor or at least is very passionate about it. Like even Ben Schwartz, he's a big nerd. He did a great job as Sonic. But so I like the fact that they're kind of going with lesser names. It'll be less distracting. Kind of relating it to what I know, I thought it was kind of funny because the kid who's playing Link, Benjamin, he's the star of a CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation TV show called Son of a Critch, which is
Oh, I see ads for that
he's
all the
literally
time.
yeah, he's literally the titular character, Son of a Critch. And Mark Critch is a famous Canadian comedian, so it's inspired by his life. And Malcolm McDowell, who's like a recurring Kubrick collaborator, Clockwork Orange, everything, he's in that show too. Which is just funny because when I first saw it, I'm like, yo, is this kid Canadian? But no, he's actually British. But I thought that was kind of funny. My headcanon now is that Miyamoto is a huge fan of CBC sitcoms. That would be really
Yeah.
funny to imagine.
Dan and Eugene
Um,
Levy going to be playing Ganondorf and
my
and
God.
I don't know. Tingle.
That would be amazing. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of a fun nod. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I don't really know anything about them. I don't know anything about her. It'll be interesting again as well, just because these are characters who don't talk much. I mean, in recent games, obviously Zelda has talked more, especially like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. But obviously, Link is a silent protagonist, so it'll be curious if they continue that route, or keep him let little dialogue or whatever. Hopefully, in any case, that it's more of a physical performance in terms of his face and facial expressions than I don't want to hear Link saying 500 lines sort of thing. It'd be a little
Is
weird.
just the whole
So
movie gonna
we'll
go,
see.
huh, yeah, what? Okay, that's it. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to you. Like, I've only ever seen Benjamin Evan Ainsworth in Bly Manor, and yeah, like you said, he was a kid back then. Like, a lot's changed since then, so it's hard to like judge his acting. Like, I remember him being fine in the show. Like, I thought he did a good job. But yeah, a lot of times changed. Like, so, and this is a very different role. So this is basically like as good as them being unknowns to me, which I think is the right way to go, and I think is my ideal. I think I probably would have been a little bit distracted if it was like, a Tom Holland is Link or something along those lines. So I'm glad like we're starting from the ground up. It does. It's funny because saying Tom Holland, it reminds me of Tom Holland in a way because like it seems to me like they're kind of building up these two, as younger stars, and then at least to me it reads as like they see kind of longevity of like, okay, these guys can like grow up and we can do more stories with them and different adapt different games and that sort of thing. So this is really promising. Like I've like faith that they've chosen like some good people. It just makes me wonder like if they're going to fill out the rest of the cast with like bigger name stars like like Javier Bardem as Ganondorf or something along those lines to kind of bring
That
maybe
would go
like the
hard.
yeah, I think that would be sick. Like, you could do it,
That's been our
no
pick
official
for a
augmenting.
long time.
Yeah, I think that would be
Yeah.
really cool. But yeah, I think that's where my head's at in terms of the strategy there. But yeah, I really like this direction, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think it spells good news for me as somebody who's been very excited for the Legend of Zelda movie. And when they announced it was live action, immediately I did kind of like moan and groan a little bit because my dream is is a Studio Ghibli
Hmm.
Legend of Zelda animated film. Like I think that is the way you do this franchise justice. But seeing them bring in these like relatively unknown, they're not going with big names here. I think that Wes Ball is a very talented director. Seeing the Planet of the Apes movie last year, there was definitely some things in there where it was like, whoa, like this is I can see how this guy is going to make a Zelda movie. And so you bring in these two young actors, no one really knows them. They are going to become Zelda and Link to kind of the general audience. That's very exciting. And you can kind of build on them. Like 21 and 16, they're going to be so young. They are fairly contemporary with each other. I mean, 5 years at that age is quite a big difference, but they're contemporary enough for them to do maybe a trilogy of these movies, and I guess the oldest be 30 by the time they're finished. Probably would make sense. So I think that's exciting. It is interesting that they are so young. Just from a what kind of Zelda story are they going to tell here? I think they both have the look. Judging from the two photos they gave, Ainsworth gonna have to, or yeah, Benjamin gonna have to, I think, dye the hair. It's very dark brown right now. I don't need. I want a blonde Link. But the Zelda just looks spot on. But I want to know, what do you guys think story wise? I don't know what sort of history you have with Zelda, Brad, but do you think that this means like is Ocarina of Time kind of out of the question because they might be a little too young to tell that kind of time traveling story?
Yeah. So I mean, Ocarina was my first Zelda. I was a little later to the series, but I've since played. I played that starting, I think, right after high school because I got a 3DS, and Majora's Mask is still my favorite out of all of them that I played. But yeah, I mean, I think they could definitely do kind of like what the Mario movie did, where it took elements of things, but it was still an original story. I think they could still maybe take the inspiration of like a time traveling story, but maybe Link himself doesn't necessarily age. Like you could still do the whole he goes back in time or forward in time, and Hyrule itself is ruined and Ganon is taken over, but Link himself is still the same age. They could do something like that, I suppose. And obviously, Sheik doesn't. If they went the Sheik route, you don't have to really worry about her age with that. You can just kind of dress her up. So yeah, it'd be interesting. I think, but I mean, I think Ocarina of Time is like the most iconic one, right? That's kind of the gold standard. So I would be shocked if there weren't at least some direct callbacks to that. If not plot wise, then at least like with characters or bosses or that sort of thing.
I was wondering maybe could they do something like is maybe this is a two-part story and they do like a Link to the Past where the end of
Mm.
this first movie is Zelda getting like taken into the dark world and then it's just like
Oh,
ends and like I think that could be something really cool. I think a lot of people with this film have really thought about the 3D era of Zelda, but maybe we could go even further back than that. Tom, do you think that these actors' ages affect kind of the story we could see?
Potentially, although your guys' ideas are really good. So, my head kind of did also go the Link to the Past kind of era, like that. The ages kind of make a bit more sense for that, I think. But like Brad said, like I think like Ocarina and you don't have to necessarily age them as much. Um, I think that could also work. I think to me, it's kind of like Zelda is, she's the princess in those games. So often the time she's captured and like she doesn't have that much of a presence. So I feel like incorporating her more into the story via someone like Sheik makes a bit more sense. Because you want to see Zelda have an impact on these stories, and I do wonder if they maybe like will take elements of these stories and tell their own kind of thing, similar how the Mario movie did. But I don't know, like maybe they could do a Wind Waker thing, and like Zelda could be Tetra, and that they could do it that way or something like that. But yeah, I think Ocarina probably is the one, to be honest. But I could honestly seeing it a completely original story and seeing what that could look like, I think could also be kind of interesting too.
I do think that whatever story they tell, these two characters will be the co-leads. It won't be a we're gonna capture Zelda and put her away somewhere. I think
Yeah,
that she is going to have a Tetra role like in Wind Waker, where she is kind of alongside Link on the journey, even more so, I think, in this movie. And then it isn't till the very end where we've heard rumors about the princess and things like that, that it's revealed like, oh, like she is Princess Zelda. She's the one that's the key to all of this. I think that that's going to be where they go with this. I mean, it will be these two build right at the top as the main characters going on a journey together.
yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, they could even do it like Skyward Sword sees them starting off together. Maybe they could, that's a good, I think, like jumping off point.
It'd be a weird place to start, but a Skyward Sword adaptation would rock,
I
especially
mean, it's
considering
the first in the
how that
timeline.
exactly, right? Like how that plays into the greater Zelda mythos. I think like that
Yeah.
would be so cool. Hearing Ballad of the Goddess, like one of the best
Oh,
Zelda songs ever on a big screen would be amazing. The music in this movie is going to hit, but let's move on. Tom Drew, let's go to your story.
yeah, so I'm talking about the ROG Xbox Ally. I want to get the name right. And it's costing how much? This comes from Demi Williams at Tech Radar. The pricing information for the ROG Xbox Ally and ROG Xbox Ally X has seemingly leaked online. As reported by Spanish publication 3D Juegos, the console prices were leaked through product boxes on Google. It appears that the ROG Xbox Ally will cost €599, while the ROG Xbox Ally X, God, it's a mouthful to say that every single time, will be priced much higher at €899. Us converting the prices respectively translates to $699 and $1,050 respectively. And if accurate, this will make them Xbox's most expensive consoles yet. This is also how much the original Asus ROG Ally and Asus ROG Ally X cost in Europe. The pricing has since been removed, but the boxes originally linked back to the official Asus website, suggesting that the company may have mistakenly shared the information ahead of time. Yeah, so we kind of surprisingly heard about the ROG Xbox Ally being a thing. We knew Microsoft was working, or Xbox was working on some handhelds, and we saw them. And now this, I mean, it's not like a confirmed, but this seems to be where the prices are kind of falling. But Brad, I wanted to bring this story up because I know you've had a chance to get your hands on this console. Do you think this price is justified based on what you experienced with the Xbox Ally ROG thing, or how do you feel? What do you take away from these prices and hearing them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of more or less what we expected, just based on the conversions and what they're charging for the current ROG Ally and Ally X, the ones that aren't Xbox branded. I mean, I always kind of imagined, we were going to get a similar price, but then obviously you're paying a little bit more of a premium because it's got the Xbox side to it. So yeah, I'm not necessarily too surprised about the price, unfortunately. Obviously, I would like it to be lower because I do really like it, and it is actually in a lot of ways it's like the perfect handheld for someone like me who I have a Steam Deck. I don't use it as much, partly because obviously you have to kind of start over with a library that doing that as good as the Steam ecosystem and the pricing is, but having being able to take all my Xbox games with me pretty much is obviously really enticing. So I think for someone like me, it would probably still be worth it, even if obviously full disclosure, I would maybe get one for review. I don't know at this point, but even if I didn't, I would probably consider buying one, saving up or trading in for it. But yeah, I think probably for the average person, I mean, it would probably be much more of a deluxe luxury sort of item.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like, I think to me, coming into this, I kind of I thought it would be expensive, but I was kind of wondering whether this Xbox like handheld move would be trying to get Xboxes into more hands. I mean that's kind of the whole MO at the moment of like everything's an Xbox. So to kind of price these things as high as it is, I was very like kind of interested in this like product. I don't know if I was necessarily going to rush out and buy it like day one, but I thought it was like an interesting way of getting into the Xbox ecosystem. But seeing them kind of like this high of price, I wonder. I just wonder what Microsoft and Xbox's strategy is in terms of like how they're positioning it. I guess it is more focused on those hardcore gamers, the people that have those Xbox libraries and want to like have that kind of consistency across like platforms. But Klein, what do you think about this pricing in terms of Xbox's strategy
I
here?
think that we um as a gaming community, I'll say have to like almost change the way we look at this thing. I think you, Tom, are looking at it like an Xbox. I think that a lot of people are looking at it as the next step in Xbox. I don't think it's that. It's the next ROG Ally. And so that's why these prices are as expensive as they are. You said that the original ones cost about this much, and they're doing this. Steam Decks are, I think, 800 Canadian for the top of the line one right now, maybe a little more than that. So that's a last gen handheld at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Steam Deck 2 in the next couple of years, and it will probably eclipse $1,000. So these are handheld PCs. This one just happens to have an Xbox logo on it. I think that tech's getting more and more expensive. This is why the Switch 2 costs so much. This is why we've seen Xboxes and PlayStations go up in price, which is something crazy about midway through this generation. So it doesn't surprise me. It is a lot of money. Everything's a lot of money right now. So it is going to be a premium item. This is not for the everyday consumer. This is for the enthusiast. This is for the hardcore, and they're going to be willing to spend the money on it.
No, that's a great point. And I will say as well, obviously, not just if you already have Xbox games, but having Game Pass just there front and center obviously does kind of balance out the pricing a little bit. Where if there were games that you were going to buy, you can kind of get away with avoiding doing that for a lot. But I also hear your side, Tom, as well. Like, I think it's an interesting device to kind of launch Microsoft's handheld strategy because I feel like it would have maybe made more sense to do something more entry level to start it off, and then maybe advance to a partnership with Asus. Because it's just weird that they just kind of immediately went to obviously like a high end item like this, not something because we all expected. We've been hearing rumors for years. Phil had been teasing it for years, something more along of the lines of like a Switch. And then the rumors are that they've shelved that, and we're not getting that at least anytime soon. So yeah, it is kind of weird that they didn't start with something like that. I guess this is a lower risk venture in that sense, but it
Yeah.
is kind of interesting that yeah, to your point, Klein, that yeah, it is. They're starting off with something that very much isn't intended for the average person. So
I
it's
think
an
that
interesting strategy.
this is going to work a lot like Microsoft operates their computer business. Like Microsoft isn't, other than Xbox, is not a hardware company. Like that's not what they do. They're Microsoft Office. They are software, and they they're Windows. And they sell Windows machines. They license it to other manufacturers, and so right now it's the Xbox ROG Ally, and it's this expensive. I wouldn't be surprised if some other player comes into the market, and now we have the, I don't know, I have an HP Omen gaming desktop. Maybe it's the Omen Xbox handheld or whatever, and it's just a way of branding specific handhelds within these different manufacturers. And Microsoft, at least the rumors are that they have kind of completely pivoted on the proprietary Xbox handheld, and they are not doing that anymore. It is this, and we don't know what else. So I think that it wouldn't be all that surprising if in a couple years the ROG Xbox Ally, I keep having to read it off the page, is just one of like 9 or 10 different Xbox branded handhelds alongside these companies' other handhelds.
Yeah, I could see that. I just think I think that what it just keeps like getting at me is like the fact that like an Xbox Series X is still cheaper than this. And maybe that's part of the strategy. Maybe people maybe people at Xbox are like, okay, they're gonna see the expensive price tag of this, and then they look at the actual home console and be like, okay, that doesn't seem too bad
But
now.
Tom, will the
$600.
Xbox Series, whatever the next one is called, Z, that could be like $1,000. Like we don't
True.
know. Like everything is getting so
True.
expensive that if it's a truly premium machine, like the way that they've talked about this next gen console will be, the greatest, the what did Sarah Bond say that in that one quote, like the greatest leap ever between console generations is coming with this next Xbox. Like that to me sounds like $1,000 machine in this day and age.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of trend I'm kind of expecting it to be, and given these prices as well, like yeah, gaming's just getting more expensive, and I guess we have to just deal with that, or vote with your wallet at the end of the day. Like if you don't want to see
Hmm.
these high prices, you just gotta like bide your time, I suppose.
Okay, we come to the last news story of the week. Special guest Brad, you brought a very special story. You've had quite a weekend, and so you're going to run us through hanging out at TennoCon, hanging out with a bunch of fans of a game that we never talk about on here. But I've heard people compare it's Warframe. I've heard people compare Warframe to this many times. I think it's perfect. Warframe to me is one of those, you pick up like when you see a rock on the ground and you pick it up and there's hundreds of ants under it. Warframe is that game to us here on the podcast, because to us it's just a rock, but there are millions of people under that rock playing it every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a formal like reading a pre-written news story like you guys do, but I was actually there, so I'll just give a very kind of TLDR. But yeah, Warframe started in 2013, so it's been going strong for 12 years. This is a game made in London, Ontario, not London, England. The actual famous London. And it's one of those rare multiplayer games that's still going strong. Like they're still consistently among like the top 15 games played on Steam, and they've come to more platforms over time. They have a super solid community. It's actually like one of the more positive communities, I would say. It's known for having that. They have a really sort of candid relationship with the fans, the developer, Digital Extremes, where they do all these kinds of streams with people. They're like, it's one of the only times where like the CEO or like the president will just show up on a stream and just wearing a baseball cap and just chat very informally about the game. And when you go to TennoCon, which they hold in their hometown, which I think is really cool because they're big enough that they could really do it anywhere at this point, but they want to give back to their community. So they hold it in London, Ontario every year. This was the 10th TennoCon. I think there were one or two that were virtual because of COVID, but otherwise it's always been in their hometown. And they bring thousands of people from around the world to London, Ontario. So there's people from like Asia and Australia and Europe and all these different countries coming there, which for context, London, Ontario is a little over 2 hours outside of Toronto. So even on top of flying, 15, 16 hours to Toronto airport, then you're taking a train there generally, which you'd have to go into the city and then take the train or a bus. So yeah, it's a super long trip. And, but yeah, I got to attend as media, which is really cool. And it's just, yeah, it's just awesome. The kind of community that they fostered. Like it's the only game where like that I've seen where people like love all the developers. Like the CEO is just taking selfies with people in the hallways, and they would like cheer whenever like the design director goes by. Like there's like a running joke at the convention that where is the CEO? And it's just, have you seen this man? And it's just like and normally I would feel icky just kind of deifying, an executive like that, but that is kind of like the culture that they fostered, and I think that comes down to they were like very close to like shutting down entirely like a number of years ago, and so they've always kind of had this very sort of grassroots, community first, very humble approach to everything, and I think that really shows through the game. So yeah, this time they were showing just new Warframe updates. One of the big announcements was they're working on a second IP called Soulframe, which is more fantasy focused. Warframe is more sci-fi, like cybernetic ninjas sort of thing. And again, keeping that sort of humble approach, they're sort of building out soul frames very slowly in like a pre-alpha over time. And they announced, unfortunately, by the time of this goes live, the period will be over. But they announced like for the whole weekend, you could anyone who's registered up until like the end of day Sunday could take part in the pre-alpha, which is really cool. That's like the largest that they've ever expanded it to. But yeah, it's just really cool. They've kind of they're in this unique position where Warframe's so popular, they can just sort of slowly cook this other IP and kind of learn all the lessons that they've taken from Warframe. But yeah, it's and they've gotten some like incredible voice talent there. Like last year, they had Ben Starr. They had from Final Fantasy 16. He was the main character in their 99 expansion. They had Nick Apostolides, who's Leon in the Resident Evil games. This year, they had Amelia Tyler, who's the narrator from Baldur's Gate 3. They had Kevin Afghani, who's the new Mario voice. I got to interview both of them. They were amazing, a super delightful bunch. So and they did a whole last thing. They did a whole concert too. Like they put on this whole Tenno concert. They called it the night before, sold out, I believe, and they have members of the actual development team in the concert, like the creative director Rebecca Ford, who's awesome. I've gotten to meet her a few times. She's super talented. She was playing bass in the concert for their game. Like that. Like what other game can you imagine? Like the creative director playing bass in a concert for their own game. Like it's wild, and they go nuts. Like, everyone's like, "We love you, Rebecca." Like it's just the community calls her Space Mom very affectionately. Just to give you an idea, so it's just so fascinating because yeah, I've never really played the game. I've dabbled in it. It's one of those things where it's like hundreds and hundreds of hours of content to catch up. So it's like I just personally don't have the time for that, but just to support this like really cool Canadian game, it was really awesome.
It's kind of nuts how long it's gone on for. Like it's 2013, did you say? Like it was a launch
Yeah.
window PS4 game. I remember seeing
Yes.
trailers for it there, and just having kept in touch with the game's media landscape over that time, I come across these trailers, I see the updates, and every time I see something new from Warframe, I'm like, how is this the same game that I saw however many years ago? Like it's they did a full like open world expansion a couple of years ago. They keep adding all this crazy stuff, and it is one of those success stories in games. And I think where we are in the gaming like landscape right now, I think Warframe is just one of those things that perfectly personifies it, where it's like everyone has that game, and for a lot of people Warframe is that game, and they will continue to play it uh as long as this team is willing to put out content. So that's really exciting. How many people would you say attended TennoCon 2025?
Yeah, it was 3,000 in person.
Okay.
And then the cool thing is because they are a remote studio, like they have people outside of London, Ontario. The main team is there, but so they actually flew in as many of them as possible to be here for the 10th anniversary. So when you factor them in, and then some other helpers in media, I think it was closer to 4,000. But I think 3,000 members of the public were there, which is super cool.
That's crazy. I also have never played it. The closest touchstone I have to it is I had a roommate in college who that's all he did. Like I don't think he actually ever went to class. Every time I saw him, he was playing Warframe. And one of my like radio broadcasting mentors, Kevin Lim, shout out, is a voice actor in the game, and he has attended TennoCon for the last few years. And I thought when he's like, "Oh, I have a speaking role in this game," I remember him announcing it however many years ago. I thought, "Oh, that's cool." Like he's, I don't know, some like grunt, or like it's just like a smaller role. No, like he seems to like he keeps getting invited to these things. It seems to have like a big, sizable like part in this massive multiplayer experience, which I think is very neat and very
Yeah,
cool. I haven't actually talked to him about it, but I'd love to.
and yeah, not only that, but yeah, like he was there last year too. My colleague actually got to interview him, but not only does he actually play a role in the game in terms of a voice role, but he actually introduced because Digital Streams does a bunch of charity work every year, and he introduced them to Make a Wish Canada, which is super awesome. So he got them in touch with Make a Wish, and they actually made a wish for a kid. I think he's from Ottawa. I could be wrong, but he's in Canada. He's 16 years old and he has spina bifida, and he always wanted to become a voice actor. So they actually added him last year as a character in the Warframe 99 expansion. So they brought him and his family to the studio. There's like a great picture of him with like the Digital Streams team and Ben Starr and the whole voice cast. And then they brought him back this year. So he actually had a booth with Make a Wish, and they were signing autographs, and everyone was so excited to meet him. And They even made up like a plushie for his character that you could buy, and all the proceeds go to Make a Wish. So it was just such a lovely thing, and his parents came out and thanked them. So it's like they donated $100,000 to Make a Wish as well. So it's just such a super nice story, and that all happened because of your mentor Kevin. So that's super awesome.
Awesome. Shout out. Tom, Warframe, any experience?
Not really. It sounds amazing. I mean, I'm so glad
Do
there's a
do you know that
decent
what we're
crowd.
talking about though? You've seen this game
Yeah,
before. Like really, the character designs are awesome. They
yeah.
remind me of Power Rangers. If like I don't know
Mm, yeah.
if the Power Rangers, this is gonna sound weird. If the Power Rangers suits almost looked a little more like fleshy, like it
Mm.
Mhm.
it's like Power Rangers and Metroid mixed together.
Sure. Yeah, more Power Rangers 2017 than like
Yeah,
standard Power Ranger stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you saying like you have some friends who've like played Warframe because I feel like everyone has like that one friend who plays like is really into Warframe because I definitely have that. Like one of my like really good friends who lives in Australia, he was like obsessed with Warframe and he was like really trying to get me to play it. I've never dabbled my toes, but like you said, Klein, like every time I've seen it, I'm just like, this game looks freaking sick. Like the character design is so cool, and yeah. I mean, I'm just so glad that that this game is like, yeah, like continuing to thrive, and that the community is so passionate about it. It's just really nice to see, you know.
Well, and like to what Glenn's point about they're constantly adding things. Like last year, yeah, like the big expansion was Warframe 99, which was like inspired by the creative director like wrecking her parents' computer as a kid with viruses, downloading music. And so there's like a fictional boy band that's like taking over, and Ben Starr is the main character, and you could actually there's like a dating sim within it. So it's like, and the community was like, "What? There's like a Y2K themed dating sim within Warframe?" So it's like, but it's kind of gotten to that point where they can just kind of take those wild swings. And then the big expansion this year is actually going to some big part of the lore, like in the past, where there's like a giant war. So it's very like gritty World War II sort of inspired, which is obviously a complete tonal shift from Y2K dating sim. So it's just crazy how it. Like being in the audience yesterday and just hearing people pop off over every announcement. I'm like, that's how I would get for Final Fantasy. So like, I totally get it.
that's awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for bringing that, Brad. Let's get out of the news here because we got another big game to talk about. We're gonna take some wild swings here, literally. Tom Drew, take us out of the news, please.
It's the news we choose. Yeah.
It is time. The Nintendo Switch 2 may or may not have its first killer app, Donkey Kong Bananza. We have been playing it, some of us more than others. Brad, for the YouTube audience, or if you're not watching on YouTube, shined a little Donkey Kong Country thing he's got. I'll do a bit of an intro. We'll get some general thoughts. Oh my God, Brad's drinking out of a Donkey Kong mug.
This is
He's
amazing.
full Kong pilled. We love to see it. This week, as I said, saw the release of one of the year's most hotly anticipated games, Donkey Kong Bananza for the Nintendo Switch 2. It is the latest 3D platformer from Nintendo's Super Mario Odyssey team. This is the first time a Donkey Kong game or a Donkey Kong platformer has actually been developed internally at Nintendo by one of their own EAD teams and not by someone like Retro or, for a long time, Rare. It sees players take control of Donkey Kong on a just rip-rollicking adventure deep into the core of the Kong world with the ability to terraform and destroy everything in your path. The entire world is completely, I guess, destroyable. I've destructible. Taking on epic platforming challenges, puzzles, fighting enemies, all just to capture some bananas. That's what it's all about here. We're gonna have a few, I'm sure, banana here on the show today. The game has been critically acclaimed. It is sitting at 91 on OpenCritic. Congratulations. I think Lauren had that in the Fantasy Critic. I think it's
I think
over, Tom.
I think I did. I had
Really?
I had Donkey
Okay,
Kong. Yeah.
never mind then. I think it's over for me and Lauren because your team was very good.
Yes.
Some of it have called it some of Nintendo's best work. In fact, IGN's reviewer Logan Plant said it is the best 3D platformer Nintendo has ever made, which is awesome. We've all played it to varying degrees. I want to know general thoughts, how long you've played it, maybe what sort of history you have with the Donkey Kong franchise, and what do you think about the game so far? Brad, I think you are going to kind of help guide the conversation a little bit here because you reviewed the game. The review is up over on MobileSyrup.com. That means you finished it, I'm sure, and I've continued to play it. What's your history with Donkey Kong? How many hours do you have, and what do you think about Bonanza?
Yeah, so I don't have much of a history with Donkey Kong or really Nintendo platforms in general. Kind of what I was alluding to with when we were talking about Ocarina of Time. Like I was kind of late to Nintendo games in a lot of ways. Like I had a Game Boy Advance, so Pokemon was really my big thing. But other than that, like I didn't really play Zelda or Mario or anything like that. It was really, and I, like a lot of kids, I was kind of that stupid fanboy. Oh, PlayStation's the best. And now I'm privileged enough to own them all and play them all. So I've really been enjoying experiencing a lot of those games. But yeah, I never really, other than Donkey Kong Country Returns, which they just released that HD remaster of on Switch. I reviewed that. That was really my only like major encounter with Donkey Kong. So that's why like I wanted to preface that when I was going into my review. Like I don't really have nostalgia for this. Like Astrobot last year was my sort of nostalgic platformer, like PlayStation inspired, all those characters. That was my nostalgic one. So this I had no attachment to, and I went in, I came out of it, I'm like, this is my game of the year, like straight up. Like I am, as we talked about, I'm the JRPG guy, I'm the Final Fantasy guy. Clair Obscur was my favorite game of the year. This beat it for me. Like, and again, no bias, no nostalgia. It's just that good. Like I was shocked. I went in. There were some people who played the demo at the Switch event and were kind of down on it, which I thought was weird. I was like, I thought this looks pretty cool, but I didn't have like any hype for it otherwise. I was just like, I'm looking forward to trying it out. But yeah, I was consistently blown away. I had just a huge smile on my face the whole time. It's constantly introducing new inventive mechanics and level design, and the relationship with Pauline I thought was super endearing. I really love her role in the game, and there's so many good surprises in there. Obviously, even that I know of, more so from Smash, if anything, without spoiling anything. There's a lot of references and songs and characters and stuff that I know because of Smash Bros. Not necessarily having played Donkey Kong, but knowing that they're a big part of the Donkey Kong world. And yeah, I played about, I think the counter on the Switch has always been a bit weird, but I think I'm about after 25 hours, I think I rolled credits, and I was doing a sizable amount of collecting the bananas. Like obviously, there's still many more I missed, I'm sure. Uh, and without spoiling anything, there is actually like a chain of quests that unlocks after the game. So there's actually still some stuff that I haven't done on top of like collecting bananas. There's still more like story content too, which is I was shocked. I'm like, there's still more to this game. So yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I honestly don't think there's going to be anything that probably tops this for me this year. I would be shocked. I loved it that much.
I love to hear it, especially coming from somebody who doesn't have the Nintendo history. I know a lot the angry Twitter commenters, the people over on Reddit who are like, "Oh, Nintendo gets the like they
Paid
get the
reviews
Nintendo
are
bump."
biased.
Yeah, but that makes me so happy as somebody who is I'm a diehard Nintendo fan. I have a history with a lot of their platformers, and to hear somebody who doesn't enjoy it just as much is like that's very exciting. Tom, you haven't finished it. How far are you into Donkey Kong Bonanza, and what do you think about your time so far? This is going to kind of be a review so far. We'll call it. Me and Tom have not finished it. It just came out like as recording 3 days ago. It is a big meal, and I really want to savor it.
Yeah, but having said that, I'm savoring it all the way. It's good. Yeah, I'm on level sub level 400. I think I've basically come, I guess, mild ish spoilers for the game, or just like a decision you make in the game. But it's like a fork in the road, and you can make a decision to go one way or another. But I'm basically at that point. So to be honest, I'm not really sure how far in the game I'm at. I've put about like 8 or 9 hours into it, I would say, and that's doing a lot of the like side content, a lot of just like searching out for bananas and that sort of thing. Um, but God, this game is amazing. It's so good. I like echo everything that Brad said. Like, I also don't really have like that much history with Donkey Kong. I've played a lot of Nintendo platformers, loved Mario to death. Um, but Donkey Kong was a bit of a blind spot. I've played a decent amount of the original Donkey Kong Country, a bit of Tropical Freeze as well, but not enough to kind of like really sink my teeth into it. So this was kind of like really my first proper time with Donkey Kong, and it's just blown me away. Like I kind of doubted it like a little bit, like because the original release trailer was like, oh, this is cool, but I wish it was a Mario game. But I like take all of those comments back. Like this deserved to be a Donkey Kong game, and it like lives up to the hype completely. I just the sense of movement you have as Donkey Kong, the creativity you have with it, because you would think that it would get a little bit stale just smashing things It doesn't. It really doesn't at all, because they not only is it like endlessly fun to do that, but they keep amping up everything with the different challenges you do and the levels. Um, I just adore it. I'm itching to get back to playing it. It's kind of unfortunate that this is coming in between my like me playing Death Stranding, because like I really want to play Death Stranding, but Donkey Kong though, it's really good. So yeah, I mean, we can get into specifics in a second, but I just adore this, and I think, I mean, to be fair, I haven't played like a ton from this year as of yet, but I could easily see this being my game of the year for sure.
This is just going to be a positivity train here on the show. I am also like head over heels in love with this game. I have have a funny history with Donkey Kong. My first like real interaction with him was GameCube era Jungle Beat Donkey Kong, and I didn't have Jungle Beat, but I thought it was so cool that like there's a game you can play with drums. Like that's awesome. And then when Donkey Kong Country Returns, I was a Nintendo kid at that point. I had the Wii. I was all in. I had my DS. I knew Donkey Kong from Smash Bros, but I had a Nintendo Power subscription, and they were amping up Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I knew about Donkey Kong Country, and I hadn't played them, so I played that, and I was like, this is so much fun. And I've since gone back. I've played Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3. Tropical Freeze is one of my favorite platformers of all time. I didn't get to play that until Switch because I didn't have it on the Wii U. I think that Bonanza is absolutely sublime. The I was with you, Tom, when they announced this game. I thought, oh, please don't. I actively said, please don't be the 3D Mario team. Like, please, I want a 3D Mario game so badly. And if this means we don't get one sooner, I'm gonna be like quite angry. For all intents and purposes, like this is scratching that itch for me. This is giving me that Nintendo magic that you only get in 3D Mario games, and it's mixing it with this incredible open-ended like objective base that like something like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild made possible, where if you can think it, you can probably do it. Just because there's a platform section ahead of you to get to the next banana, or there's this enemy, or there's this puzzle, just because that is there and Nintendo has designed a way for you to get to it, they're going to let you play. And if you want to dig into the ground and pop up on the other side of this thing and grab the banana that way, or in a lot of cases, like I'm doing most of my gameplay, I will just be digging and happen upon an objective. And then I think, man, what crazy like puzzle or like encounter did I miss to just get to this? Because they really just let you play around and explore. And I didn't know, I thought maybe the smashing was going to be like feel one note. When I saw it for the first time, I thought like this, how are we going to intermingle exciting platforming challenges with this if everything is just going to come down to, can I punch through it? And they do. And it's almost scratching this like childlike thing in my brain where it is just so fun to just like walk into a room. Like they do such a good job in that opening area. I don't think this is a spoiler because it literally is like the first thing you see, where you're in a mine and it just drops you there and you're like, I can just smash anything. And you do for, I did for like 5 or 10 minutes. And I was like, wait a second, I have a game to play. I have to keep moving. And I think that to me is like, it's just Nintendo's done it again. Like they do such a great job with their 3D platformers and really with any of their games of like finding this thing that you never knew you wanted and then showing you 100 different ways how that can interact at gameplay wise with various elements. And it's just, I don't know if it's my game of the year. I think right now my game of the year is probably Monster Train 2 because I'm a deck building sicko, but like the more I play this game, the more I fall in love with it. And that is, by the end, it could be an all-timer for me. But I think we can get into like a more detailed conversation. Maybe light spoilers. We're gonna try and not like too much of a oh, how much have I played? I'm a little further than you, Tom. I think I'm like 12 hours. And I have come to that crossroad, met the crossroad, finished one side of the crossroad, and I'm now back to do the other side of the crossroad, I guess. So I don't know how far that is into the game. I hope it's not very far because I'm absolutely loving it. But yeah, let's get into
There's a
just
lot more. Yeah.
a more detail. Oh, there's a lot more. Good. That makes me
Yeah,
very
I mean,
happy.
even just to give some context, like because before Sunday night, so a week ago, when I was traveling for a week, including to TennoCon, I thought, oh, I'd be finished the game at like 10 p.m., and then I'll go see Superman one more time before I travel. I ended up finishing it at 1:30 a.m. the game because there's just more stuff and more. Without spoiling it, like the whole ending stretch is freaking phenomenal, and it just kept going. And then I saw that there's more story stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to stop now. But yeah, I just kept going. So it's like, yeah, there's so much you can do in it.
The thing that shocked me is I kind of went through this first world, like after you've come through the tutorial, where you basically leading up to where you get. We've seen these superpowers or whatever, so it's not too much of a spoiler. Where you get your first like Bonanza power, and I thought, oh man, I did it. I finished the tutorial, but what I didn't realize was that that area wasn't like I thought it was a fairly linear area because I'm like, oh, there's no like I can't see anything hidden around. I'm just gonna do this and leave, and then I can get into this more open like sprawl that will let me collect. And now I'm realizing I'm going and seeing other people gameplay stuff. I'm like, oh, there's like 70 or 80 bananas just hidden in there, and so I have a whole world where I haven't done anything other than the main objectives, which I'm very much excited to go back and like look around it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's so much. There's just so like there's so much replayability, and like I feel like in terms of like what there is to do in the world. Like yeah, like I was watching gameplay and being like, and seeing stuff I'd miss and be like, how did I even like different levels and challenges? I'm like, I haven't seen that. Like this is truly like how open this game is like it's kind of bewildering like how much there isn't doing like little worlds and stuff like the fossils that they hide throughout the thing. There's just so many fun collectibles and how like feeds back into like the costumes and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I just love that they kind of like it is like you kind of said, Klein, like a Breath of the Wild thing of like we're just gonna put you in this like environment, go nuts, let's see what you can do with this.
Yeah, and the moveset they give you, that's like probably one of the highlights for me when I first was learning how to roll and the surfing on the materials and picking up the materials. And once you figure out the controls I think are a little cumbersome to start, but they very quickly start to make sense. It's like, oh, okay, like jump is over here because B is to punch down and Y is to punch forward and X is to punch up, and it all starts to make sense. But this move set feels like how I felt when I played Mario Odyssey for the first time, where I'm like, wait, I can throw the cap, I can dive, I can jump on the cap, and then you start seeing people online doing all these crazy things. I think that this is that even more so. Like there's so many options where I think I've sequence broke a couple of little things where I'm just like, oh, there's this move I figured out where you can like jump, punch to get like you stall in the air a little bit and then roll and you'll shoot forward really fast and you can basically like do these great gaps that you wouldn't normally be able to. Or there's a move where you can have a piece of material and double jump with it and then do that. You can get even more like vertical or horizontal movement. I just think like moving around this world feels so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the one of my favorites is the surfing. Like you could pick up a bit of terrain and then surf on it, and it'll like whittle down the terrain as it goes. But like having that sense of momentum and even just the rolling around. Like I know Mario has like a similar thing, and I guess like it kind of harkens back to Sonic. But it's seeing Donkey Kong roll around this world and just smashing things as he's going along is so fun. And then like again like digging down or up structures as well. It just feels so satisfying. It reminds me of like in a weird way like Astrobot with like the little there's lack of a better term, little giblets that you have around the levels in Astrobot, and you can interact with them, you can knock them around and stuff. And I was like, this is really neat. I wish you could like do more like particle kind of interaction in games. This is like that times 100. Like you can just interact with everything, smash up the environment as you please, and like it's like it's like if Minecraft was on steroids, like being able to just mine and move around
Well,
in
it's like if Minecraft
like
was a 3D
structures.
platformer.
Yeah, basically, and it feels like the momentum you feel going through that. You don't slow down at all when you're like mining and stuff. So, making that all feel so fluid is like such a credit to developers because they made it feel so good.
And yeah, you guys are talking about like just the core movement, which feels great, but obviously that's before you even factor in the transformations, the Bonanza transformations. Like just as an example, it's kind of like the Breath of the Wild of it, where if you think it, you can do it. Like there's a part late in the game. I won't spoil the context or anything, but you basically have to pay these NPCs increasing amounts of gold to build a path for you. And eventually, it wanted like 9,999, and I'm like, what the hell? I don't have that much. And I'm like, is the game really going to make me grind to do that? I guess technically you could, but I thankfully uh, upgraded my ostrich because that's one of the confirmed transformations. So that's not a spoiler, which can help you fly. Well, even though it's a flightless bird because it's goofy like that, but I'd upgraded him enough that I was able to kind of terraform the environment to get a good starting boost and just glide over to the next area without needing to pay the 9,999, which is like I felt so good doing that. I mean, it took me a few tries to get the elevation right because otherwise I would just miss it. But I was like, yes, I cheated the game. I didn't have to pay. I didn't get extorted by the man. It felt so good.
I had one of those moments today where I hadn't had a conversation with one of the like rock NPCs, which I love. All this every character, environment, every little detail in this game has so much character, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like the Leafs have monkey faces on them, and like these rock characters you meet, and but there was this challenge where it was like a long stretch of lava in front of me, and what I needed to do was open up this kind of ice machine to freeze the lava, but I didn't realize that, and so I found a piece of ice in the environment that kept regenerating elsewhere, and so I would take a piece and run over to this lava and was slowly making my way across, just like piece by piece, and it took me like about 35 minutes instead of the 3 minutes it would have taken me to open this thing, which I discovered right towards the end of my quest across the lava. But I was like, I can do this. Like I kind of I made my own challenge, almost like I would in like a Grand Theft Auto game. And I'm like, I can, let's see, can I actually do this? And it let me. And so I think that just this open-ended make your own fun, like we'll have fun in there for you. You can drop into these fun little platform challenges, these little boss rooms, do all of that. But then if you like, yeah, if you want to transform into an ostrich and fly across the map and not interact with the world that like the way we designed it, we're gonna let you do that and it's gonna work.
And like I think that creativity, in terms of like the destructible environment, I like how that extends to like the enemies and that sort of thing. Like this game uses a lot of like voxel tech, I guess, like to have these destructible environments. But the fact that that also extends to like these like massive stone faced like creatures, and like when you punch them, a little bit like hangs off, and that you kind of have to whittle them down. I just think that's so creative, and that obviously like extent of the bosses, which we can get into in a bit as well. But like, I just love that like it's not just the level design. It's like every facet of this game is built around Donkey Kong's moveset, and it's just fascinating to me. Like I love that there's a little skeleton, like crocodile skeleton dude in this thing, and you have to mash him about to get to him.
The enemies actually surprised me because the first time you interact with one of those rock-headed guys you were talking about, Tom, I was like, "Oh, this game's just going to come down to me punching over and over again at the same enemy and breaking pieces off." But then you're like, "Oh, in the next area, we're going to encounter these same enemies or slightly different ones, and they have different materials, and you have to
Mhm.
now like puzzle solve like, wait, I can't punch through the steel, but I can like transform and punch through it, or I can pick up a piece of the environment and swing it at them." And I think that to me is like, oh, like you guys thought of every question or everything that I was going to say, oh, like, come on, Nintendo. Like, this is just going to be, oh, I'm not. And then, and actively, like, said, no, 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 wait. Like, we have more in store for you. I think that is it's Nintendo magic. Like it's the same reason that like when you go see an amazing animated Disney movie, it's like they get it. Or you go to Disneyland and there's all this like amazing design, these design elements everywhere. It's like there's no way to explain it other than just like, oh yeah, it's like it's magic. Like that's what it is. They just have something there that no one else has.
The way they like constantly, yeah, to that point, like reimagine and reinterpret the different types of terrain and how you interact with them. Like even like the example you used about like using obviously ice to put out fire. Like there'll be like a challenge mission where it's like, oh, the little rock guy wants his ice cream machine to get working, so you have to like make a path for the like little ice pellets that are just like
I did
candy
that
ice
this
cream.
morning.
Yeah, yeah. There's like a few different variations on that sort of gimmick, and some of them are just like purely horizontal, vertically down. Others are like sort of on a slope, and there's just different things like that. Or even like later on in the game, without spoiling anything, there's like a bouncy terrain, and then there's like a gold terrain. You have to constantly go back and forth to get your way up, and there's just so many different ways that they do that sort of thing. And yeah, like you said as well, like enemies that you can't necessarily beat right away. So that's how they kind of limit the whole. You just can't punch everything. Like you have to be a little more thoughtful about it. And,
And
I
something
think
that's
that's super cool.
really impressed me here that I haven't necessarily seen in Nintendo, and it makes me feel like, oh, they're actually listening, is these collectibles. They're not just collectibles. Like you can the bananas, you can then go and upgrade yourself, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the upgrade system really surprised me in how like you really again go into the freedom sense of it. Like you basically have like a skill tree and you can like choose like, okay, I'm gonna improve like Donkey Kong's punches or his health, or like I'm gonna improve his like sonar ability, which well, as an aside, like the sonar ability is like one of the best features
Quick,
in
yeah,
this. Like
number one tip: if you're starting this game, upgrade sonar as fast as you can, because you're
yeah,
going to be able to
it
find stuff in the environment so much easier.
It's so good. But I just love that. Like, if you want to be like, okay, I'm just gonna like maximize Donkey Kong's punching and make sure he's able to like smash as many terrains as possible, you can do that. Or if you want to prioritize health or like your other different power ups you can get, you can do that too. Like, yeah, they just give you so many options, and I just think that's really welcome in a game like this.
But like,
And then you will unlock like little paths for each transformation too.
yeah,
So it's like you can get for the basic Kong Bonanza, you can like reduce the charging time for his like Falcon Punch, or with the zebra like or the ostrich. Like I said, you could fly further with it. So that sort of stuff is really cool. Yeah, it makes the collectibles feel more rewarding than just for the sake of having number go up. It's like no, I can actually upgrade DK himself. So.
well, that's the thing with Nintendo 3D platformers forever. And I mean, 3D platform, I would even put like Banjo Kazooie and stuff like this in, is the fun wasn't getting the collectible, it was the journey to get the collectible. It was like, oh, I did this, I interacted with this fun platforming challenge, I did this cool ice cream machine thing. But then that each one of these collectibles, including the fossils you're finding, all the different currencies all play together to go, like there's the upgrade tree, there's not just outfits. Like I liked the outfits in Mario Odyssey. That was one way that they made the collectibles a little useful. But like, oh, now all of these outfits have stat bonuses, and like, and it's like, oh, I'm going to wear this funky looking neckerchief because it gets me. I don't know. I can swim in water 10% faster or whatever. I think that is so new for Nintendo to me. Like that's like almost bringing in some of the Zelda stuff that they've done and mixing it in here with adding these like, oh, like in Zelda, I did this challenge, I got a better sword, I got better outfit, and putting it into the 3D platforming side of things, I think is so ingenious, but it makes total sense because as you're playing, the more and more bananas you find, more and more times you hear "ooh banana," the better you're actually making your Donkey Kong.
And the way that like there's the ways that you get bananas, there's just so many ways. Like obviously not just finding them in the environment you're doing the challenges, but even like there's little NPCs that you can do quizzes for and you'll get bananas from. You can pay some of them to give you bananas. You can even get them just from talking to NPCs. Like if you run into Cranky Kong and talk to him and he has his really long, comically long spiel, by the end of it you're rewarded with a banana. Like that sort of thing, right? Like I love that. It's just it encourages you to interact with the world, not just by smashing things or doing challenges, but talking to NPCs. And sometimes, you just talk to them, you pay them and they unlock a path for you. Like there's just so many different, there's that constant sense of discovery, which I love.
You're constantly hearing the ka-ching of gold going into your wallet, the little nice, like every sound in this game is so satisfying, but like you're constantly getting collectibles currency of some sort, and then it's all being able to be put to use in the world that you're exploring to go and collect more, which is just it's it's genius. Like it all works together in such great harmony.
Yeah, definitely. And like I think in terms of like, we mentioned the fossils and how that kind of unlocks the clothing. And like, I mentioned like I've always liked Donkey Kong as a character, but I've never like felt as connected to him just because I haven't like played many of his games before. And the fact that you can customize him and you can like change his fur color so it could be purple and give him like trousers with little funny little patterns on them. It almost made me feel like, oh, this is my like Donkey Kong. So I felt like even more like connected to him, and just more like invested in like existing in this world and even more wanting to smash stuff.
What color's your Kong?
I went for like purple or I think purple was my go-to
I've got a
and
nice
red, I guess.
baby blue Donkey Kong right now, and I think
Okay,
that's where I'm sticking for a bit.
nice.
Well, and I love that you can also customize Pauline, and then that also gives you some perks as well. Like I like early on in the like mining, not the introductory mining level, but like when you first start using the carts, that early one, which I think is like sublayer 200 or 300 or whatever. Like you can unlock like a little like country bumpkin sort of outfit for Pauline, and like that's super cute. I love those two so much. Like I just customizing their looks and then just their interactions as well. I could
I've
just
been
talk about that forever.
surprised with the two of them. Like I've never been as I think engrossed by a story in a 3D Nintendo platformer. Like Zelda games,
Yeah,
sure,
it's
but like the Mario games, it was like got like, oh no, Bowser's planning a wedding. Like we gotta go save Peach again. But this is like there are moments of genuine, like almost like Pixar moments
it's
in
so
there.
cool. Yeah, it's so cool because like obviously she was a damsel in the very first Donkey Kong game, and then they kind of reinvigorated her character in Odyssey, where she's actually the mayor and such a great singer. And I kind of like this is kind of taking it a step back, like this is her becoming that singer, and it's actually like a surprisingly touching like coming of age story work for her, like where she starts off even the first time you do the Kong Bonanza transformation, she's like, I don't want to sing in front of people, and she's like, all right, she kind of swallows her fear and she's like, fine, I'll do it because I got to help DK. But then as you go on throughout, you sort of hear her coming more into her own and getting more, excited. And even the little getaway feature where you can pay them to build a little hideout for you and then increase your hearts. Like it's crazy how much of that dialogue is actually locked behind that because it adds so much to the game. Like I made a point of doing every one of them, even if I had full health, just because I wanted to hear her banter. Like some of it is like her just talking about her fears and uncertainties, and that sort of gradually improves over the story, or even just little fun bits of dialogue. Like she questions like, DK, you're an ostrich. How are you flying? That doesn't make any sense. Or like, she's like, DK, your hands are so big. How do you tie your own ties? And I love that sort of thing because it's like, yeah, obviously DK is a silent character and he's got some personality, obviously, with how goofy he is, but she adds so much to that. And yeah, without spoiling anything, you mentioned Pixar. Like the final hours, like they do such a great job with the relationship. It was genuinely kind of getting a bit emotional even at the end, and yeah, just the way that kind of her songs are like diegetically inserted into the story. Like she's the one that's singing and transforming you into these things. Like she's on your back, jamming out to like the music for those transformations. Like when you do the Kong one and she's like it's like rock and she's like rapping, or you do the zebra and it's like a flamenco like
And they're
Latin
saying the word
infused
zebra
song.
over and over again.
Yeah, and it's so good. Or like a
It
later
honestly,
one
it
without
reminds me of
spoiling it.
Astrobot. Like it reminds me so much of
Yes,
Astrobot with the music, where it's like it's an active part in the level, but every single one, like every song in this game, whether it is just the ambient level music when you're running around, these transformation songs, the boss fight, this is one of the best gaming soundtracks I have ever heard. It is so good.
it's
Yeah,
so
it's
good. I love it so much, and the fact that she's the one singing it. Yeah, it's just and because Nintendo's always weird about confirming voice actors. I just want to give a shout out. When I saw in the credits, her name is Jenny Kidd. I'm not familiar with her, but she did the voice and the singing. She was fantastic as Pauline. Like it's not the same actress from Odyssey, of course, because she's younger, but she did a phenomenal job. I was like really impressed. And then obviously, once you hear the full version of that emotional song that plays in the trailer as well, like she's so good. Like I honestly, it's crazy that they hid Pauline at first from the game as well. Like we didn't even know like she was that actually because she's such an integral part, and just the fact that she's not the damsel, like you don't have to worry about her. Like she's on your back the whole time, but you don't have to worry about her like falling off or like getting injured, like Leo, like Ashley in Resident Evil sort of thing. She's always there and she's always helping you. She feels like an extension of your playset, but she's not ever in danger either. Like it's honestly one of my favorite companions in a game in a long time for sure.
Yeah, she's just a great addition to this, and I think obviously like we mentioned, like she started off as like a damsel in the original Donkey Kong, But I think it was very clever to like bring in this aspect of Pauline being like a singer in Odyssey and connecting that to DK and like Donkey Kong has been like the music has just been so like I haven't played a lot of the games, but it's been integral to a lot of them. Even Jungle Beat, like you mentioned, Klein, with the drumming and stuff. So I think that connection really works in just like driving a lot of the story stuff, and like the ability itself. Like I found the singing ability so useful in gameplay. You get like these little maps as you go through the game, and it'll show you like the locations of bananas and fossils and that sort of thing. And originally, like I start off just being like, I'm just gonna. I guess I have to look at the map, see what the marker is, go to that, and then just flip between them until I find wherever the thing I'm looking for is. But I realize like you hold I think it's the L button, and you sing as Pauline and DK, and it'll show you the markers on the map, and it makes it so easy to like see where everything is, and makes you even more motivated to be like, I'm gonna seek that out and find where this thing is. So yeah, I just think everything was so well thought out and integrated into how it all plays together. So yeah, I think Pauline's like a really great addition to this, and I'm glad she's part of this like DK universe.
Shout out to the map though. Like I know you don't want to turn it on and off all the time, especially because there are a few technical hiccups in this game, and
Yeah.
every time you go into the map, the frame rate just like drops. But it's because it actively is like refreshing how you've terraformed the world. And so
Hmm.
looking at the map and seeing like from when you've started the level to when you've ended the level and just seeing the mess you've made as you've taken down entire mountains and stuff, I think that is such a cool element. Another hot tip for you here, if you haven't, there is an internal achievement system in this game, which I did not
Mm.
realize until today. And in the map, if you go over to like the stats page, you get collectible rewards for getting those achievements, but you have to go to the map to this other page to redeem them. And so when I did it, I had like 25,000 gold all of a sudden, just like from all these things that I've done. And they don't tell you that, but it was just a delightful little surprise when I went over there. I'm like, oh, I have so much more money now than I did 5 seconds ago. That's awesome.
I found that like halfway through playing as well. I'm ashamed to admit.
Well, I was looking to see for the sake of this conversation, I was like, is there a exact how long I've played stat there? There isn't. It's just showing you how much dirt you've dug up, which I think is fun.
Yeah.
But they're making Nintendo will never do trophies or achievements like Xbox and PlayStation, but if you do stuff like this where it's like, hey, you dug 1,000 meters in this level, here's a little bit of gold, and it's actually something you can use tangibly in the game. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I did want to bring up the just going back to your point about the technical stuff, because like you said, there are some frame drops in this game. A lot of stuff is happening. Like DK's breaking up things. Sometimes a lot of stuff is going on on the screen. So sometimes the frames do drop. But I don't know if it ever detracted from the actual experience of playing the game. Like I think I was able to kind of not let it affect it too much. There are the one thing that I did notice a fair amount. You get these like little eels that appear on the map, and they'll like teleport you around to different parts of the map. If you do that on like the sub level that you're on, it's pretty instantaneous. You'll like go down and then you'll be popped up wherever you go. But there's a bigger eel, for lack of a better term, I
The
guess.
elevator.
The elevator, yeah, and she'll take you between the major levels. And those load times were pretty. They're sizable. They were pretty sizably long. So I wish those were a little bit smaller. But I'd say like yeah, there are some frame drops there, but I can kind of see past those things because it's like there's a lot of shit going on. Basically, that's the thing. So I was able to still have a lot of fun with it despite those
I
things.
have no idea how. I mean, this week Nintendo did a bit of a deep dive on Donkey Kong Bonanza, and they said this game was originally in development for the Nintendo Switch One.
Yeah,
I I have no idea how that would have worked. I think the Switch One would have turned to liquid in my hand.
yeah, definitely. Or like it would have been vastly like reduced. Like I would have bet like the
The
words
graphics
must have been
comparison
so
was
much smaller.
wild to look at. They had a like test
Yeah,
image of what it would have looked like on Switch One, and it's very different. But you're still digging through the world. Like I guess sure you could do like
okay.
they made Tears of the Kingdom work on that machine, which again, it's just Nintendo magic at this point. I'm pretty sure they have sorcerers over there that can do all of this. But like, I have no idea how this game would have managed on that.
And the fact that it remembers what you've done to the world, like
Yeah.
every time you go in and out of because the little challenge things are kind of like, I guess, shrines in Breath of the Wild in terms of scope, and like you're going into like this extra area, which I guess from behind the scenes in the tech, it's still in the same world, but for all intents and purposes, you're going somewhere completely different. And yeah, you keep jumping in and out of those, and it's only once you go to another sublayer, then it'll reset. So like, yeah, it's the fact that that all maintains, and then you can just keep smashing things. Yeah, I think I had maybe 2 or 3 times where the frame rate dipped a little bit, but yeah, like you said, Tom, like it's not a huge issue, and just knowing just how much is going on there, I think the fact that it is almost consistently 60 frames like the whole time, very smooth and not really any issues. I was very impressed.
How has everyone
Like
been
Pokemon
playing?
could never.
Has anyone done handheld?
I did a little bit, very small amount, and it
A
ran
little bit,
pretty
yeah,
well.
not
Yeah.
much, yeah.
But yeah, from what I experienced, like it ran pretty as well as it did on like a
Okay,
dock.
that's
I
what I
didn't
was
really notice.
wondering. I wondered if maybe it was getting a little bit of extra horsepower from the dock, but no, it seems to be just able to run on this machine. I think the only other like negative that I've really seen so far is like the camera can get quite wonky, but you are burrowing through the earth. And so there can be times where I'm like, I'm just gonna dig a hole, and I go straight down and get kind of lost in where I am because the camera's trying to figure out where Donkey Kong is. But I think it works about as well as you could probably ask it to in a situation like this. But it can get quite messy where you're like, I don't really know where Donkey Kong is right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think my only negative really is just that I think it's really easy at times. Like even as someone who doesn't play a lot of these platformers, like I mentioned, like I'm not even coming at it from that angle. I just think that he's a little too OP. So like for a lot of the game, it's really easy, and some of that is fun. Like it gives you multiple options to fight a boss instead of necessarily the intended way. But yeah, so a lot of the bosses I was beating in like 30 seconds, less than a minute. Like I'm not even exaggerating, and I'm like, okay, this maybe could have been a little harder.
I was
Um,
worried
uh,
after the first boss that it was going to come down to just like the same thing I've kept saying, it's just punching stuff. But from what I've seen so far, every mini boss and main boss has mixed things up a little bit. Yeah, I'm beating them quickly, but it is like it does take me a second to go, okay, what are they asking me to do here? Oh, I need to like I gotta transform into this and climb up this like the ramp that the boss is building or whatever. Like I think that they are doing a good job of um mixing up the boss sequences each and every time, but they are quite quick.
yeah.
yeah, definitely gets better towards the end in terms of difficulty and the intricacy. And when there's 2 transformations that they haven't shown that I won't spoil as well, so those shake things up a little bit. And the post game stuff, without spoiling it as well, it basically challenges you to reuse like the transformations in all different ways, and so like challenge basically everything you've learned with using them in harder challenges. So that stuff's being fun. Like even just doing the first one so far, it was like really interesting to see. So yeah, they definitely build on it, and it's not a huge issue. Like I mean, it's mostly just the boss fights, and you're not really playing this game for the combat, anyways. So
Yeah, that was the only thing for me. Like, I think I really like enjoyed the boss fights, and I think it is fun to fight these like towering behemoth guys. But like, I wish those boss fights were just a little bit longer. Or if there was like, and I've definitely felt this as I progress through the game. There's more like bosses with different phases and that sort of thing. But I wish like I guess even if there was more opportunity to have those kind of fights, or yeah, like if even just if the health bar was like a little bit longer, I don't know. Like I think it would just be like just getting that, making just a bit more satisfying. If they extended those a little bit, but that was the only thing for me in terms of like how easy or difficult the game became.
yeah, they definitely do a lot of creative things with encounters towards the end, and set pieces and everything, which are awesome. I'd love to talk more about them, but obviously once you guys get there. But yeah, they make up for it, I would say, by the end.
I'm excited. I'm excited to keep going. I'm excited to see the end. I'm excited to keep getting bananas. Shout out! There are some challenges that is quite easy to get to the end too with these like little shrines or challenge rooms, but then it's like, wait, there's 3 bananas in there. I only saw one. Where's the others? And then you've got to go back, and it is that Mario with the 3-star coins and some of the 2D platformers, and it's like, where is it? I need to now explore and figure out how I'm going to get these other 2 bananas. I think that really works for me. But I think that's going to basically wrap up our Donkey Kong Bonanza. Any final thoughts? You'd mentioned it, Brad. This is your game of the year.
Yeah, honestly, and just thinking of what's coming out the rest of the year, I can't honestly think of anything that might pass it. Like
Yote?
I I didn't love Tsushima the way that everyone else did. Like for
Okay.
me, it was a good game. Like it was like a solid like 8 out of 10. But even like if we're looking at like the other PS4 games that came out this year, Final Fantasy VII Remake and The Last of Us Part Two, I just thought those were way better. But what I got to interview the shameless self promotion. I got to interview the creative directors of Yote earlier this week, and that's up now on MobileSyrup. And a lot of the stuff they were talking about sounds really cool about sort of upping the game and making some improvements in areas. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, we've been playing a lot of Donkey Kong, but we can talk about what else we've been playing here. This is what we've been playing, and then we'll get out of the show. Brad, Delta or Missile Command Delta. I've been hearing a lot about this. Like, is this like the Missile Command, like the like
Yeah,
OG
so
video game?
the 45-year-old Missile Command. It literally came out in 1980. It's the Atari classic. So literally the height of the Cold War. So that's why it's literally about disarming missiles. So that was sort of like a rolling pointer that you were using to. So this is kind of been reimagined as like a turn-based, grid-based sort of thing. But the cool thing for me was it's 2 studios, that indie teams that are based in Toronto. Mighty L, which did the Big Con, which I adored, and 13 a.m. Games that did Dawn of the Monsters, which was like a kaiju beat 'em up set in
Yeah.
Toronto. So that was cool. These are 2 really big developers, and they got to make an Atari game, which is pretty cool. So it's a nice mix of they introduced like first person exploration elements. So it's almost kind of Gone Home like, where you're exploring this like abandoned bunker and learning more about what happened there. And then in between, there's those turn based missiles sequences. So I've really been enjoying it so far. I'm only a couple hours in, but it's like 5 or 6 hours long, I think, in total. But I got to interview the devs as well, and I thought that was really cool. And yeah, I think the people who've played it so far seem to be pretty high on it.
Cool. Sounds
Um,
neat. With the turn-based, it sounds like the cool reimagining of this sort of idea.
Yeah, and you said you were like a deck building sicko. They added like a mechanic with that, so you can like find like cards for different missile types in the level, and it'll give you card types as well. And so there's like different missiles that have different like explosion radiuses and different trajectories and different like detonation sequences. So it's like if there's 3 turns in the match, some of them won't deploy until the second turn. So you kind of have to plan out, okay, I'm going to send this one to stop this one in 2 turns and this one in 1 turn. And this one goes, 7, has a 7 ranking, so it'll go this far versus one that has a 2. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. And you can there's multiple ways to kind of solve it depending on the deck that you build. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. Where can people play that? Or is it out yet?
Yeah, it's out. It's on everything. Yeah, it's on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC, I believe.
Cool. Awesome. Tom, what have you been playing other than Donkey Kong?
Yeah, it's mostly been Donkey Kong. Death Stranding is put aside just for a bit. I will get back to it. I really want to get back to it at some point. But the main thing that happened this week is that I got a text from my good friend Loveday, and she's like, "Hey, my friend is having this Mario Kart World like race thing with a couple of friends. Do you want to come?" And like she showed me a screenshot of the group chat of them telling like of her telling them about me, and they referred to me as their professional podcast gamer friend. And first of all, not professional. I don't get we don't get paid for this, so
We
I don't know
could
what to
though.
say about that.
We're
We
still we're
could at
still
some
looking
point.
for buyers.
Yeah, we really are. But I was like, I saw that. I was like, well, I have to go. I have to see what I can do. I'm not gonna lie, the competition was pretty stacked. I was nervous because I was one of 2 people that like had a Switch 2, so I had experience with Mario Kart World. I put 25 hours into the game. So if I had lost, it would have been devastating. Luckily though, I managed to win. I managed to win the whole thing.
Nice.
And I crushed everyone. And I feel kind of bad being like this, Loveday's friend, this just random guy showing up and
Yeah,
winning this
you
whole
weren't
thing. But
helping your case at all. You are now known as the professional podcast gamer amongst that group.
uh, and you know what? I'll wear that badge till I die. I won a bullet bill plush for winning the whole thing. So
Nice.
I'll cherish that for the rest of my days. But I will say, Loveday actually came second in the whole competition. So shout out to Loveday. I was very impressed with the performance. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing, crushing people at Mario Kart. That's what I do now.
I'd be scared getting into a Mario Kart World competition because, like, for lack of a better term, the bullshitification of
Oh
the Mario Kart like franchise in Mario Kart World, and I mean that as a compliment.
yeah,
They turned it into Mario Party. I would feel I don't feel like my skills at any moment can be screwed over by one of 23 other racers, and that is like that scares me a lot. Whereas if we're doing Mario Kart 8, sure, I have one. That's the only video game competition I've ever won. I was in college and I won like movie theater gift cards or whatever. But no,
Nice.
Mario Kart World, it would be there's going to be at least 4 blue shells every race, and I can never feel like I'm safe.
yeah. It's. I definitely will say I got lucky. Like there
Were
were
you
a
guys
lot of
doing
blue
knockout
shells.
tour or like Grand
So
Prix?
it was. We started off doing time trials to like do the seeding of where everyone was kind of at.
Wow. This was
This was
organized.
intense. This was very intense. I'm not gonna lie. And then we did Grand Prix with those like seedings. I was in the top seeding. I don't want to brag about it that much, but you know. And then it all capped off with the top 4 at the end did a knockout tour. So it was just a race to the finish, like who could last the longest. And it was crazy because I was expecting someone to get knocked out along the way and then knocked out, but like everyone almost made it to the end. Like it was literally just before the top 4 knockout tour, before 2 people got knocked down. I was like, this is. I mean, I was impressed. I was impressed then. I'm not gonna lie.
That's awesome. I have not been playing a lot of Mario Kart. It's just been Donkey Kong and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4. Still playing that game. I've 100%ed Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, and I am now on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. I am just taking a bit of a detour because my boy Donkey Kong needed some bananas. And so I will get back to it. I'll finish the game. I absolutely love it. I don't think it's going to be on my game of the year list at the end because of the year, just because it is like it does feel like cheating a little bit. Like it's like 2 of my favorite games ever that just got remastered, and they're the games again. Like it is Tony Hawk again, and it feels just as good to play. So just been a lot of Tony Hawk. I want to ask, do we have a comment corner, Tom? Do we have anyone chiming in from last week? Okay, go ahead, bring it to us.
Yeah, so we've got a message here from our guy Ryan Cortero. We asked last week if there was a game from any viewers past that they'd like to see us play. And Ryan said here, the game from my past that I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on is Kingdom Hearts. It's been a while since I've replayed that, but that
Ooh,
game holds so much nostalgia for me. And I wonder if we could do that or not. I know I think it would be a bit of an ask for Lauren, but maybe we
I was
could.
gonna
I don't
say,
know.
I think I think there would be some convincing needing to be done, but I think it can happen.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. But no, thank you so much for the comment, Ryan. And if anyone else has any other games they want us to play, let us know.
Brad, do you have a
I would
Kingdom
so
Hearts?
play Kingdom Hearts with you guys. I'm a massive Kingdom Hearts
Yeah,
fan. I
okay,
mean,
okay.
it's Final Fantasy. I went all the way to Chicago just to meet Yoko Shimomura at a concert
Hell
because
yeah.
she's my second favorite composer after Nobuo Uematsu for Final Fantasy. Like it's just I love Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I mean, 3 was I don't hate 3 like everyone else, like some other people do, but it was a little disappointing. But I'm hoping that 4 will kind of if we ever see it again,
I
who
bought the
knows.
full package, like the all-in-one Kingdom Hearts package, because I wasn't a PS2 kid. I had a GameCube, and I bought it when I was living on my own. It was like $6. Like it was so incredibly discounted at this point. And I played through 1 and loved it. And then I'm like, I'm gonna play all of them. And so I played the card one.
Oh, Chain of Memories.
Yep.
Yeah,
Played that one. And then I didn't move on to 2 because there's another one between them, but it's just a movie on the all-in-one package, I think. And I'm like, I
yeah.
don't know. I think it's like 4 hours. And I was like, I've got other things to do. I mean, since then I have watched like the Snyder cut like 8 times, and that is also 4 hours. So I just like one of those
Jesus.
times could have been the whatever's next in the Kingdom Hearts playthrough, but like I want to get to 2 because people say like 2's the one, like 2's the game.
2 is like one of my top 10 games of all time. I adore 2. And I'd say Birth by Sleep is high up there as well.
I really liked
The one on the PSP.
Chain of Memories. I
Yeah.
liked that card again. Deck building sicko. Like I like the way they mixed that action RPG with the using the cards.
Yeah. For what it was, because it was originally just made on the GBA, so it's like they had to reuse a lot of the sort of story elements of the first game. Like that's why it's the memory gimmick. So you're going back, but yeah, the combat was super cool. That game actually probably is one of the best stories too, because after you beat it, you unlock Riku's side of the story, and his story is phenomenal. And he's the best character in the series. So yeah, actually, I have a soft spot for Chain of Memories.
Maybe, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts, we might be able to do it. But I'm going to ask you this week for Comment Corner, is Donkey Kong Bonanza the Switch 2's first killer app? If you don't have a Switch 2, is this game going to convince you? You can let us know here on YouTube, Spotify comments, Instagram, all over socials. Let us know, is Donkey Kong 2 going to convince you, or Donkey Kong Bonanza going to convince you to buy a Switch 2? And if you have a Switch 2, do you think this is the console's first killer app? Quick check-in on our new game plus. We are playing for July and August. We've decided we are doing the 2 months together. End of June was a bit of a mess for us. I was off. I am back. Lauren is now away. So we are combining July and August, and we are playing Portal. The first Portal game. Yes. So we'll be playing Portal. You can play it basically on everything. The companion collection, I think, is the way to get it. You can get it on Switch. I have it on PC. It's very easy to find the first Portal. So we're going to be playing that. We will check in towards the end of August and do kind of a deep dive conversation on that game. You can also follow the show, as always, at Controller Club Pod, Instagram and Blue Sky, at Controller_Club on Twitter, and at Controller.Club on TikTok. Also, if you are listening to the show, we are on YouTube. Please head on over there, subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. It really helps out. And rate and review us on podcast services around the globe. That also helps as well in this eternal fight that we have against the algorithm. Tom, where can people keep up with you, and do you have anything exciting going on?
Yeah, you can find me at Tom Drouart, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, basically everywhere on the internet. Nothing much to plug other than this very show you're watching right now. There's a highlight video on Controller Club's YouTube channel, basically of my experience of the Death Stranding 2 event in London. There's some like footage that I didn't use for the actual episode of the podcast where I talked about that. So it's a bit of like Kojima talking about stuff, Lea Seydoux and Norman Reedus like having a bit of banter and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that, go check out that video. It'd mean a lot.
Excellent. And Brad, where can people keep up with you online, and what do you have coming down the pipe?
Yeah, I'm on MobileSyrup.com, on the socials, Brad Shankar, on everything, BradShankar. Yeah, I mentioned a lot of my stuff kind of already went up. Like I just did that. Oh my God, brain fart. Go to interview. You were mentioning Death Stranding. I actually interviewed the composer of Death Stranding, which is kind of funny.
Oh, awesome.
Ludwig Forsell, about both On the Beach and then the concert tour that they're doing. It's actually the last 2 stops on the tour are actually Toronto and Montreal. So he's going to be there for that, which is pretty cool. And then I have a bunch of TennoCon interviews as well. Like I said, I interviewed Amelia Tyler and Kevin Afghani, so that'll be a piece. I interviewed the Warframe team, the Soulframe team. So that'll be something. And then I guess by the time this is up, I'll have a preview of Dying Light: The Beast. I went to LA for that for a day right before TennoCon and came back straight for that. So that was fun. That'll be going up. That'll be up by the time this podcast is live. And then, I think that's probably it for the next little while, hopefully. Hoping August is a little quieter.
Yeah, you've been a very busy guy going from Summer Games Fest to you're hopping and bopping all over the continent, and we appreciate it. But thank you so much for joining us today, Brad. I know you are very busy, so making time in the schedule is always difficult, but we love having you.
No, thank you so much. Anytime. I love it. I don't get to podcast very often anymore, sadly. So you guys are really keeping that alive, so I appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Brad. You can keep up with me everywhere. I'm at the Kleinfelt, TheKleinFelt. That's going to wrap up this episode of Controller Club. Thank you so much for listening. Get back to collecting those bananas. Now, let's get gaming.